This year Purim falls out on Friday, unique, it's not common. It's at least not common to fall out on Friday out of Yerushalayim. We spoke last week, Friday morning, a full shiur about when the proper time to make the Sudas Purim. Tomorrow, Purim, Erev Shabbos Kodesh. We said, the Ramah says, L'tchatchila, to do it in the morning, and like we saw in the Aruch HaShulchan, at least to start it before Chatzos. The Maril says to start it before Shah Asiris, which means to start the Suda before 4 p.m., a few minutes after 4. We didn't speak about it over here. There was a shiur following later in the morning about Peiros Mapu Makadish. I'm not going to go through the halachas, but one thing is important to note that Peiros Mapa has nothing to do with Purim. It's a Gemara in Psachim. It's gepaskent lahalacha in Hilchas Shabbos. Should you do it? Should you not do it? That's not a discussion right now. But the concept of Peiros Mapa is you started your Purim Suda whenever it is. Comes Shabbos, you're not allowed to eat anymore. You're not allowed to eat. So the din Peiros Mapa is you can make Kiddush and continue eating. How to do it? B'chol Pratel, you can refer back to that shiur, it's available online. But that's Peiros Mapu Makadish. There was another shiur given here in the morning koila a little while back, why you don't have to make Erev Tafshilin. Because Lamaisa, why are we not afraid that you're going to use up all the food tomorrow and nothing's going to be left over for Shabbos? I want to continue B'siyata D'Shmaya this morning to go over what's negeya for us, being that Purim is on a Friday. In Yerushalayim, Purim is the next day, not Friday, Shabbos. Purim is Shabbos. And last night, I went through, how does Purim look in Yerushalayim this year? It's a 3-day Yom Tov. It's a 3-day Yom Tov. Purim is Friday, Shabbos, and Sunday. What is it negeya to us? They say for us Purim is Friday. Purim is Friday. However, there's a few nekudas to go through Friday, Shabbos, and Sunday relevant to us. First Friday, I'll start with Friday, Avada. Matanas Lavyonim. The Suda, as we mentioned a minute ago, is really the main of the mitzvahs that chaps a big nafka to start the Suda earlier. Matanas Lavyonim, the Magen Avram brings from the Ma'or, not to give Matanas Lavyonim a few days before Purim. Why not? Because by the time Purim comes around, the ani may have used up the money already. So don't give it a few days before Purim. The Machtas HaShekel says, wait a second. Yistamaz, I can't give it a few days before Purim, because just like there's no tzad, you can listen to Megillah a few days before. You can't give Meshulash manis before, though for the teachers it can be mekel, but you can't give Meshulash manis before. So Matanas Avyonim also not. So it's interesting. The Machtas HaShekel says the minig is to give Matanas Avyonim before, and Lamaisa we also give these people that come around on Purim, so we give on Purim as well. The Pri Megadim says these are l'tchatchila to give Matanas Avyonim before Purim, because of the etzim, the mitzvah is dafka on Purim. Why are we giving Matanas Avyonim before Purim? Give only on Purim. So, Zok the Pri Megadim, the money of Matanas Avyonim is to give people that need money to be able to make a Sudas Purim. If you give the ani money Purim on Purim, the Matanas Avyonim on Purim, so what do you expect him to go to get the food, to prepare the Suda? Adarabba, you give it to him before Purim, so that by the time Purim comes around, he has a Suda prepared. He might use up the money. Give it to him on Tainus Esther today. Give it to him on Tainus Esther. You can't eat anyways. Maybe it'll be for tomorrow for Purim.
He doesn't have to spend money on Purim, right? Just has to use the resulting money.
He doesn't really have to use it ever. You have to give it to the ani. You can't tell him, wait a second, you're not spending it, give me back the money. That's not our responsibility. Our mitzvah is to give the ani, but why are we giving it to him? To be able to have a Sudas Purim.
That's what I'm saying. So if he buys, meaning whatever he's buying today, like we said, he can't eat. So we have to be choshesh he's going to eat it tonight to break his tainus?
I hear you asking why is it maybe he's going to eat it tonight, and if you eat it tonight, you're not yoytze the Suda. I don't know. Interesting shaila. But Lamaisa says the Prima God, you could give it to him today. And Mamela, I don't think the word is that the second he gets it, he's going to use it. If you give it to him a few days before, by the time Purim comes around, there'll be nothing left. So Mamela, the Paiskim say, or Vosnan and Shevet Alevi, the Paiskim say, even if you do give on Purim, if you're going to give Matanas of Yonim 5 o'clock in the afternoon, even if you give it to the Ani, or you give it to the Rav, that the Rav gives it over 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so then you're not really being Yoitze Matanas of Yonim. Matanas of Yonim, you should buy the Suda. What do you expect? 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, you should start go buy a Suda. The Etzem, you should give it early enough. So what does it negate to us? So I saw interesting, the Heintiger speak about that for this year, being that the Purim Suda is earlier, you should see to give the Matanas of Yonim earlier as well also. Give it earlier so you should be able to make the Suda earlier. A practical. B'chlal, you'll see some of the Rabbanim that are taking the money, they have an earlier cutoff point because it's Erev Shabbos. For them, practical also. But Akapanati Makayim Matanas of Yonim Bihidura to see to give the Matanas of Yonim earlier. Another few more practicals for Friday. The first one that I'm going to say now is a pashtus. I couldn't find it mefurish inside, so don't rely on me. But Adrab, if you find the Maramakam, you'll tell me. There are those that eat 2 sudas on Purim. Be'ikr, the cheshbon is, be'ikr, you ate in the morning like this, you know you makayim the suda. Because people eat the Suda in the late afternoon, you wash dafka in the late afternoon, so it goes into Shushan Purim. But we're afraid that you're going to start so late, you're going to miss the Suda. That's the pashtas. So mainly you have a Suda in the morning and then another Suda. This year, b'chalal to eat any outside Suda like we spoke last week, Friday is not pashat. It's aser. You're not allowed to make a siyum even, a birthday party on Friday. Because Lamaisa, it's not Enkam Makoimai for Erev Shabbos. The Sudas Purim, not only you're allowed or you're mechuyev to, and even if you didn't get a chance to do it in the morning, and it's an hour before Shabbos, you eat the Suda. You're mechuyev to eat the Suda. But once you ate a Suda in the morning already, so you can't eat another Suda, you makayim divrei Kabbalah to eat a Suda. So finish, you can't eat a second Suda. You makayim the mitzvah. You can't eat, once you eat in the morning Sudas Purim, you can't wash again to eat another Suda. Maybe even without washing also, you're not allowed to, it's not dafka about washing, to sit down to a full Suda in the afternoon when you're already makayim in the morning, l'cha'ira you can't. Another din, this is a practical, but it's the gay betzim for every Shabbos. Make sure to empty your pockets. Now, if you're wearing a Purim costume, so you're anyways changing, or even if whatever, you drank a little, you're not changing, make sure to empty your pockets. It's a din in Shulchan Aruch and Hilchas Shabbos. They gave it to every week. Din in Shulchan Aruch. Mitzvah l'mashmeish adam b'kelov be'erev Shabbos samach l'chashecha. It's a mitzvah to check your pockets. Why? Why should you check your pockets? So the Shulchan Aruch says you should check your pockets, so you shouldn't be over in Haitzah. Yeah, you're wearing pants, you put something in Friday afternoon, you go out, it's Haitzah. Now, you're all going to look at me. We live here in Muncie in Rockland County, and there's a huge Erev. So what do you have to check? Lamaisa the Meshulah says there's another reason to check. And he spells that even if there is an Erev, to check for Muktzah. So it's Be'etzim Negeya, it is Negeya for every Shabbos. Even if a person doesn't get to this mitzvah, b'yoyser, a person should be careful this week, being that it's Purim and you shout as a person has money and he's giving out taniyim, kol hapoishet yad, and then he's going and he's coming, and even if he's already in his big day Shabbos, b'chlal about wearing big day Shabbos Purim, but you have in your pockets, to be careful to check your pockets. There's no muktzah. Another practical, somebody, Rabbi Galantz, mentioned this to me. So he listened to the Shiur about Erev Shabbos with the Suda, to make sure to be careful about Neiros Shabbos. Why? Poshet azay. But Lamaisa, many people are going to light Neiros for the Sudas Purim. So you could have separate candlesticks, separate. But if you're going to use the place where you light Neiros Shabbos, and you prepare for Shabbos, to make sure there's a mitzvah like every single Friday, Poshet, to be Madak Neiros Shabbos. Moving now to Shabbos. Number one, interesting, there's a special Zemer from the Yosef Oimitz, particularly for this year when Purim falls on Friday. And in the Zemer, in the Zmiris that he writes, he speaks about Purim and Shabbos coming together. He uses the Lashon of Shabbos, Yom Kippur Shechaliyas b'Shabbos that happened this year. In what we say on Yom Kippur, such Lashonis that the two Kedushas come together. So here Purim and Shabbos are coming together tomorrow night. Purim and then goes into Shabbos. And in the Zemer he speaks about how it's possible to be Mekayim both. You can Mekayim both. First of all, he says start the Suda earlier. He says you could minimize a little bit, not have a Purim Suda, but you could be a bit careful that when it comes Friday night, there's still a chance to be able to eat the Suda. Even if you drink, don't over-drink. So when going into Shabbos, to be careful. Interesting what comes out this year that's not on a regular year is going to be 9 weeks in a row that we don't say Avarachim and Tzedkascha, the Shabbos. It's part of 9 weeks. Usually, on a regular year, there's a Shabbos Hafsaka, meaning to say is there's 1 week in Adar that's not from the Dalet Parshias. It's just an open week. This year, there is, this coming Shabbos is an open week. However, being that it's Shushan Purim, so you don't say Tachnun. So from Rosh Chodesh benching of Adar to Rosh Chodesh benching of Iyar, there's going to be no Avarachim, no Tzedkascha. On a regular year, there's always a Shabbos in Adar. Maybe Shkolim is before Rosh Chodesh Adar, so then the next Shabbos is called a Shabbos Hafsaka. There's nothing, it's a regular week. So then you say Avarachim, Tzedkascha. Here, the whole Adar is taken. The only week that's not taken is this week. And this week is Shushan Purim.
So Tzedkascha is totally in Dalet Parshas?
It's not totally in Dalet Parshas, but when you don't say on the Dalet Parshas, you don't say on Rosh Chodesh benching, you don't say when you don't say Tachnun and Nisan. The following halachas is only b'mokem b'di'evid. It's not okay to do it, totally not okay, but b'mokem b'di'evid. If somebody did eat and drink and he missed the Friday night Shabbos Suda, that's not what's supposed to be. A person is supposed to tomorrow have Purim lehidura. I'm not saying a person could be under Madrega to drink up until Shabbos and then stop, unless he's Paris Mappa, but Friday night, tomorrow night, these are mitzvah of Suda Shabbos. If somebody missed the Suda Shabbos, there's a few halachas to know. First of all, as brought in the Shulchan Aruch, that you make Kiddush by day. You make Kiddush by day. The first Suda you make Kiddush. Oh, very good. Full, Zokter Ramah, besides Vayechulu. So mean to say is, you make Hagafen and you make the bracha, the Kiddush Hayoim, not Vayechulu. So a regular full Kiddush, like what you make Friday night, besides the piece before Hagafen, the Vayechulu. Very good. Yeah, sure. Avada, Paris Mappa just says that you could continue your Suda going into Shabbos, but you have to stop because you need Kiddush. What do you say?
Normally I'd be masking for a regular Suda, but Purim specifically, I'd say the Ikar of the Suda is drinking.
So therefore, because your Ikar Suda is drinking, when you Paris Mappa on a Friday night leading from Purim, you don't even make Hagafen.
You just make it.
You say Yoim Hashishi, but you don't say Hagafen, you go...
You go straight to the...
Correct. So number one, if a person misses b'di'evid, if a person misses the Friday night Suda, make sure in the morning, the first Suda, you make a regular full Kiddush besides Vayechulu. Could you drink the coffee in the morning? Yeah, Friday, Shabbos morning, coffee, water, you want to take a drink. So on a regular week, you could drink. There's no chayvas Kiddush till after davening, till after Shacharis Kris. I tell you, Musaf discussion, but before davening, you could take a drink. This week, if a person misses the Kiddush of Friday nights, he still has a chayvas Kiddush, Rabbi Shlomo Kluger says you cannot drink. Because you're still in the Chiyuv Kiddush of Shabbos. Just like Friday night, when Shabbos comes, you're not allowed to eat, you're not allowed to drink, nothing. So you're still in that Isser to eat, to drink, and maybe you can't drink. Well, my it's a Shaila, but Tzela Chachma says you could. It's a Shaila. Atkan.
Anytime someone misses Friday night.
Correct. It's all in Hilchas Shabbos. And hopefully it's never negeya, but it happens. It has happened if somebody something comes up, person's not feeling well, he poshet can't eat. So then in the morning, these halachas and Hilchas Shabbos. Here, unfortunately, it might sometimes be negeya. So just sharing with the ilm, if somebody asks you this question, you're in shul in the morning and somebody comes over to you, he missed Kiddush, what should he do? This is the halachas. It's a din in Shulchan Aruch. Now we'll go to Sunday. So we spoke a little bit about Friday, a little bit about Shabbos, and now Sunday. It doesn't make us a Purim Meshulash, but a little bit we're connected throughout the 3 days. Sunday. On a regular year Purim, what I mean a regular year is, let's say Purim's on a Monday. I'm not going to fall on a Monday. Monday, Tuesday is Shushan Purim, and the Ramah says, V'chayiv, b'mishta v'simcha k'tzas. Shushan Purim, you're supposed to make something, k'tzas, a little bit of Suda. When I was younger, I used to go with my grandfather. Somebody used to make a Suda. Rabbi Luria used to make a Suda, Shushan Purim Suda. But the Ramah says, V'chayiv, to make Suda k'tzas. So on a regular year, Purim is on a Monday, Shushan Purim is on a Tuesday. So Tuesday, you make Suda k'tzas. What's about a year like this year? Purim is on a Friday, then comes Shabbos, then comes Sunday. So let's take a look what happens in Yerushalayim. That was the discussion last night about the Purim Meshulash. When do you make the Suda? When do you do any of the mitzvahs? All the mitzvahs. But the Suda, the Pashtus, it's a Yerushalmi and it's brought lahalocha and Shulchan Aruch. The Pashtus of Suda is Sunday. The Arshit is other days. Maybe Shabbos. The Iker Pashtus it's Sunday. Shulchan Aruch says it's Sunday. Apiri Yerushalmi. So b'meila, when we want to be marbe b'suda k'tzas on Shushan Purim, when is that? That's Sunday. So we're also a little bit expanding over Friday, Shabbos, Sunday. K'tzas, a little bit to have a taste. K'tzas, Sunday. But when Sunday? Sunday day or Matzah Shabbos? So the emes is, Pashtus, the Pashtus is that it should be day. Because we're based off Yerushalayim, and Yerushalayim, their Sudas by day. So Pashtus, it's by day, Sunday day. And the emes is, Taka, the Nemuki Yerushalayim speaks about it. He says, of course it has to be by day, because it's based off Yerushalayim, and Yerushalayim, if they eat the Suda by night, lo yatsa. The Divrei Yoel, also it's brought clearly that it's by day. You see, these things are not so clear. Why is it not so clear? Because it happens very unoften. Not often at all. And like it's Mavur, the Ramah, the Shach, and other places, that's something that doesn't happen often. You can't say these are minig. Go remember, the next time Purim Meshulash happens, we should be Zeicha with Mashiach, I'll be before then. But the next time in the calendar is in 20 years. So in 20 years, go remember what happened now. L'maisa in Divrei Yoel they bring also that it's by day. At kedei kach, they made a whole festive event, Motzah Shabbos, Malav Malka / Shushan Purim Suda, and the Satmar Rebbe Divrei Yoel said to do it again, to make another Suda by day. So that's one side to do this year the Suda by day. Me'idach the Chida in a Sefer Magal Toiv, records a whole story, what happened, that they made the Shushan Purim Suda in a year like this year, Matzah Shabbos. Some want to question it. Lamaisa in Mishnas Yaakov, he says that it's clearly that it was by night. So Lamaisa we have by night, we have by day. You look around, you see Menhagam Lakan. Some are going to do Matzah Shabbos, some are going to do by day. Lakan. You want to be Machmer, both. But that's Lagabe, the Sudas Purim. The us to be Marba Besudik Tzas. It could be that this discussion when to make the Marba Besudik Tzas, that really depends even in Yerushalayim. Even in Yerushalayim, when do you make the Suda? Now, regularly we understand our Purim Suda cannot be tonight. There's not tonight, the Suda is tomorrow. The Gemara says, Suda sha'asa b'layla la yatsa. Has to be by day. So the same thing is, in Yerushalayim, that the Suda is Sunday, it's also by day. However, the Meshech Chochmah says the following. What is the Meshech Chochmah? Be'etzem, Purim really should be by day and the night afterwards. Why? Because we're celebrating off what happened with Haman's Gzeira, Achashverosh's Gzeira, that was to kill out the Yidden B'Yud Gimel. By the Goyim, the night goes after the day. So by them, what was the Gzeira? The Gzeira was, Chas v'Shalom, that we should be killed Yud Gimel day and the night afterwards. So Be'etzim, what we're celebrating is we went to war Yud Gimel and we rested, we stopped Yud Daled. So when should we start our Purim? Be'etzim, our Purim should be Yud Daled day, not tonight. Tonight was still part of the war of today. Today's Yud Gimel, tonight's Yud Daled for us. But for Haman, for Achashverosh, tonight was still part of Yud Gimel. So Be'etzim, our Purim, we should celebrate our Purim, because that's really when it was, Yud Daled by day tomorrow and tomorrow night. Why don't we? So the Megillah says there's a special tzivui, the lashon, the pasuk in the Megillah. Bizman Nehem. Let's see the pasuk. L'kayim, they sent Svarim when they instituted Purim. L'kayim es yemei Purim ha'ela bizmanehem. So what's bizmanehem? Bizmanehem means bizmanehem of the Yidden. Really, Purim, the etzem would have been Yud Daled and then the night afterwards. However, bizmanehem of the Yidden and Meletz Yud Daled. Says the Meshech Chochmah, when Purim falls out on Shabbos, the Hainu in Yerushalayim this year, and we don't make the Purim, we don't make the Suda on Shabbos. Not going to go into the reasons, Yerushalmi. Says the Meshech Chochmah, the Suda would be Beleil Tezayin Matzah Shabbos. Why? Because Be'etzim, once it's after Purim, it's V'lo Ya'acher. What are you doing? It's after Purim. But at least Matzah Shabbos, it's still connected, just like we celebrate Yud Daled, and Be'etzim we should have celebrated Yud Daled and the night afterwards. The same as Tezvav, Be'etzim in Yerushalayim, they should celebrate the day of Shushan and the night afterwards. L'maisa, we don't bizmaneim. But if it falls on Shabbos and you're anyways not doing it, the Meila Matzah Shabbos. It's a big chiddush. It's not L'maisa, nobody makes it. In Yerushalayim, you makayim the Sudas Purim by day. But Alpidas Meshech Chochmah, it could be that's the makom to say for us that we do a Matzah Shabbos. Me'idach, the Chasam Sofer in two places, in Droshes, and also on the Gemara, that the Gemara says Suda, that you do B'layla la Yatza. The Gemara brings a story. The Gemara says there was an Amoira that was sitting Purim to give Shiur, and nobody showed up. Eventually, at night they came. So he asked them, where were you? You were here eating the Purim Suda? Why couldn't you eat the Purim Suda last night? I hear you didn't show up to Shiur because you were eating the Purim Suda. Why didn't you eat last night? So the Gemara says, whoa, 1 minute. Suda she'asa b'layla lo yatsa. It's on that Gemara. And the Gemara says, yeah, richtig, chazed it 40 times. The Chassam Sofer explains, what's the Havamina? He didn't know the din that you can't do it b'layla. Says the Chassam Sofer, that Gemara is talking about a year of a Purim Meshulash. And he was sitting to give Shiur Sunday morning. And the Havamina was, he thought, on a regular year, of course, Sudas Purim is by day. However, on a year of Purim Meshulash that it's not Shabbos, the Havamina was maybe it's pushed off, so it could do a Matzah Shabbos. Kamashwan says the Gemara, no, that even in such a year, it has to be by day. Fine, that was the discussion, that's what Ki'ilu he didn't know, and the Gemara says back, Abeli chazed it 40 times. Meaning to say is clearly that even a year of Purim Meshulash, that the Suda is not on Shabbos, it has to be Sunday. So the Mela, that could be the two stadim by us, Matzah Shabbos or Sunday. I do want to say that it's interesting, based off the Mishnah brings that there is minig Yerushalayim to actually eat the Purim Suda on Shabbos. We have a Suda anyways, maybe to be Moisev a Tafshel. Based off this, the Heintige bring that maybe us also to have a Tafshel this Shabbos, because in Yerushalayim they have it. It's less of a mafurish because Lamaisa, even in Yerushalayim, that's not really when they eat the Suda. They eat the Suda Sunday. They're chayshish for the Shita, so they also Moisev on Shabbos. Should we also be Moisev? Could be. Lastly, but I'm saying could be, I'm saying it's not a chiyuv. In Shoshanas Yisrael, he brings this about being moisev on Shabbos also. I didn't see it earlier, but he brings this nakuda of being moisev on Shabbos based off Sudas Purim in Yerushalayim, these tzadar at Shabbos. Lastly, and with this I'm going to conclude, one more halacha negei to Sunday. So we spoke about Friday, we went through the Suda, we spoke already a different time, went through a few other halachas, Shabbos. Now Sunday, we spoke about the Shushan Purim Suda for us. One more nikud is about Tachnun. Do you say Tachnun on Sunday? Do you not say Tachnun on Sunday? So the emes is, by some Chassidim, they don't say Tachnun Shitza v'Shivsa, which means the 2 days, 16 and 17, after Purim. Purim is Yudalet and Tezvav, 14 and 15. The 2 days after Purim, 16 and 17, they don't say Tachnun. The reason, one of the reasons, because the Gemara has a Havamina. Just like you can learn the Megillah earlier, the Gemara has a Havamina that you could also make up Kriyas on Megillah after Purim. The Gemara says you can't, v'lo yavar, you can't go after Purim. It says the Koichav B'Yakov, but the Havamina of the Gemara was to be able to say it. Because of the Havamina of the Gemara, you don't say Tachnun. Another reason, the Yerushalmi says that the Shitza v'Shivsa, the 16th and 17th day of Adar, are days that the Mispad boy not to have Hesped v'Tainis for what happened Ayin in the Yerushalmi. So for these two reasons, there are those that don't say Tachnun, B'chlal Shitza v'Shivsa. Rabbi Kiva Yosef in the Chuvas, he was from Yerushalayim, speaks about if you don't say Tachnun on this Sunday. Now, Lamaisi, he's mefalpel about it. He says another reason not to say on Shitzer only on a Sunday, maybe he's handling on every year, but at least he says on this year, because be'etzim the Sudas Purim in Yerushalayim, just like we start a Suda on a regular year that goes into the night, in Yerushalayim you start at Tezvav, the 15th day it goes into the night, so it's nimshach into the night, so that's part of Purim also. Though, Rav Shlomo Zalman says there's no makom for that. For us, we start the Suda and we go into Shushan Purim, because we're going into Shushan Purim. But Shushan Purim, to make the Suda and to go into the night, Matzah Shushan Purim is no Purim B'chlal. For us, on a regular year, you start at the afternoon and you go into the night, because Lamaisa, we're connecting with Yerushalayim, with Shushan Purim. But Shushan Purim to go into the next day, why? Al Kapanim, that's what he wants to say. What'd say? Oh, very good. And with this I'm going to conclude. First of all, the Pnei Menachem, whose yard site is Taka Shitzer, the 16th day of Adar, he was Nifta Matzah Shushan Purim, he says that at least a year like this year, these are kiyum of the Havamid of the Gemara, not to say Tachin, at least on Shitzer. Taka, like you're saying, Rabbi Yosef Chaim Zonefeld has a kuntras on Purim Meshulash. He was the Charav in Yerushalayim, and he spells it out clearly. You don't say in Yerushalayim, not Tachin, not Lam Natseach. What's about us? And with this I conclude. What's about us? Do we say Tachin this Sunday? So Lamai says a machlokes. Reb Vosner says you do say Tachin. Reb Shlomo Zalman says you don't say Tachin. Reb Chaim Kanevsky, they asked, and he said you Tachin Shaloi, not to say Tachin. So it's a shaila. And like I mentioned before, such things, it's hard to say what the minig is. It happens so unoften. So maybe how's it possible? The minig, bedoime, which be'ezes Hashem, after Purim, we're going to go into a series of Shiur and B'siyata D'Shmai on Erev Pesach Shechalias B'Shabbos. I don't want to go through all the Prati Dinim, but there's some Hanhagis that's a shaila. But it's hard to say what the minig is. It happens so unoften. Like we mentioned, the Ramah, the Shach says something that's so unoften, there's no minig. Have a freilich and Purim and a wonderful Shabbos.